Today on Week in Review, Kitimat sees a liquefied natural gas cargo in the marine terminal. The city of Terrace prepares for wildfire season, and British Columbians weigh in on the federal election. Hello, I'm Damian Smith, and thank you for joining us here on Week in Review, where we cover all the news here in the Northwest. To begin the cast, we'll take a look back at a recent event held in Terrace that presented the opportunity for people to potentially find their future career path. Here's Cale Maslin with the report.
Earlier this week, the 2025 edition of the annual Regional Career Expo was held at the main arena of the Terrace Sportsplex, and it was marketed as an opportunity for various businesses and other organizations to help promote themselves and inform others about what they do, something that everyone who attended seemed more than willing to do.
We're all West Glass. We're a northern British Columbia company, started in 1972 in Smithers, and we've expanded to 20 stores throughout Western Canada. And we do automotive glass, residential glass, and commercial glass, pretty much any glass.
We're here to let people know we're a training center and we provide services. We have employment programs that reach into the region, such as Gear Up and a Spark program, which are targeted for individuals that are needing some additional supports. It's virtual, it's 12 weeks long. We offer also other programs, settlement services. We also individualized training and career planning with our Work BC programs as well. So there's funding and resources that are available through our programs, including self-employment.
But self-promotion wasn't the only thing that the Expo's attendees could participate in, as they were also given the chance to recruit others to join their respective business or organization, and in somewhat might consider the essential feature of the event, it offered opportunities for networking and the potential to build new and valuable professional relationships.
It's nice to work with the local Indigenous community. I haven't been in another community. I haven't seen another Indigenous-led show, and this one's great.
We've worked with Skilled Trades BC. We've worked with some of the unions. We've worked with, the ISO's Port Authority.
Along with Hecade Strait and All West Glass, some of the other booths at the event included ones for the Terrace RCMP, the Skeena Diversity Society, Volunteer Terrace, the Kitsalis 5-tier system, Coast Mountain College, Fisheries and Oceans Canada, and Skilled Trades BC. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin.
And staying in Terrace, the city saw their strategic plan that's covering the years from 2023 to 2026 receive an update in February by the mayor and city council. This plan provides areas of work for city staff to focus on utilizing all their resources in the most efficient manner possible and to make sure to headline pressing initiatives that the city needs to get done. Some of those areas outlined in the plan include community wellness, managing assets responsibly, developing economically, having cultural awareness, as well as proper organizational strength. And the Terrace RCMP have inquired that a vehicle had been stolen very early in the morning from the Copper River Road area. As of right now, a man and a woman that were seen on security cameras are suspected of being involved with the theft in some way, shape, or form. And the RCMP are advising that if you see either of those people, to not approach them and then contact the police. The vehicle that was taken is a 2021 GMC Canyon that is colored green, and the Terrace police are asking that anyone who can either identify the man or the woman in the photos on the screen or provide useful information about the whereabouts of the vehicle to give them a call at 250-638-7400. And with the summer season approaching, the city of Terrace is currently preparing a new plan to help deal with the heat. Terrace announced that they are working on creating what they called a community wildfire resiliency plan, which is set to be an evolved version of their original protection plan. This updated version of the plan is set to include recommendations with a few different suggested priority levels. Some of the listed new goals of the plan are increasing community awareness of the wildfire risk, creating realistic and accountable mitigation actions, as well as strengthening collaborations with other nearby fire-based agencies. And the Terrace RCMP went on to release yet another report that detailed some of the most notable incidents that they encountered throughout most of the previous week. One part of the report mentioned that a highway patrol officer noticed that a Ford Escape was traveling at 116 kilometers per hour in an 80-kilometer zone on Highway 113 at the end of last week. When the officer stopped the vehicle, he found out that the driver was not only suspended from driving, but that he also had a warrant out for his arrest in Vancouver. The man was then arrested for all of his offenses and later got a future court date for driving while suspended, alongside several violation tickets for speeding and having no insurance, as well as a vehicle impound notice. And a 32-year-old man in Burns Lake is facing charges related to an alleged assault and arson case that happened in the later half of last week. The RCMP learned about this case when they got word that a man was seriously hurt after being hit by a vehicle, with them also discovering that the victim's home was then consumed by the flames. The suspect in this case was identified as Harold Eric Noth, who officers found at his own home and then arrested him without any notice. Noth has been charged with the likes of aggravated assault, arson, dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, as well as a breach of undertaking. Up next, how communities in the Northwest can prepare for wildfire season. Welcome back to Week in Review here on CFTK-TV. We now take a look at a new way that is the City of Terrace is looking to prepare itself for the upcoming fire season. Here's Cale Mazin with the report.
Wildfires in BC are a regular occurrence, and all levels of government throughout the province are constantly brainstorming ways to try and best be prepared for any fire threats that could end up coming their way. And on the municipal level of government in the City of Terrace, a new program has been put into place recently in order to help serve as protection for the community.
FireSmart is a wildfire prevention and mitigation program. Over the winter, we worked behind the scenes to develop a community wildfire resiliency plan. So we work closely with forestry professionals to assess Terrace's risk factor for wildfire, and it provides recommendations moving forward. And this spring, we'll have a lot of programming for public education and giving the public resources to FireSmart their homes.
The education from FireSmart mainly involves them advising people to assess the exterior of their properties and look for where dead leaves and drag materials might gather, since embers can potentially ignite them, asking them to keep their gutters clean, and making sure that firewood isn't that close to your home. And while the brand new Community Wildfire Resiliency Plan is looking to get finished sometime this summer, the city is still looking to get opinions from the public on this subject.
Later this week, the City of Terrace is putting out a survey through our Facebook website and through our City of Terrace website as well, and just looking to gather information on the FireSmart program, and it's a great opportunity to provide feedback, so please fill out that survey when you see it come out.
FireSmartBC.ca has been touted as another good resource to inform yourself about this subject, and FireSmart also does offer to do inspections of the exteriors of residential homes that are free if you are located in the City of Terrace's boundaries, and they can be scheduled online through the City of Terrace's website. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin.
And the City of Terrace Fire Chief also spoke on ways how people can keep themselves safe from the ever-present threat of the fires. Once again, here's Cale Maslin.
With the spring and summer seasons nearing at rapid speed, the threat of both house and wildfires is set to increase a fair bit, considering how hot the weather can get at times. And in the City of Terrace, the local fire chief has some useful tips for residents to consider when working on preventing fires from starting.
So some of the most basic things that we want to let the residents of City of Terrace know is fire safety planning. So that starts in the home. It starts with your kids. It talks about, the muster points, where to go in case of a fire, what to do in case of a fire. A fire breaks out in your room, simple things like closing the door as you leave the residence, going to a predetermined spot in the front yard, in the backyard, wherever that spot is for your family, where you guys can all collect and be together. So when the fire department comes, they can identify how many people are in the home, if there's any more additional people in the home, and what we can do to ensure that your home is kept safe in case of a fire.
Another practice that the fire department encourages is testing your smoke alarm on a monthly basis by ensuring that its batteries are intact and that it goes off when prompted. Advice like this is of even greater importance since there has also been a few house fires that have taken place over the past couple of weeks, and the cause of most of them has shown another fire hazard to watch out for.
Predominantly, the cause of these fires has been electrical in nature, so faulty electrical. So some of the older homes, we're seeing the electrical wires that are catching, combusting, and then we're having the result of a home fire.
Keeping with the subject of those older homes, some of which are said to have baseboard heating, people are recommended not to place their furniture up against said heating or have any loose clothing up against a heat source. Anyone looking for more fire prevention tips can attend an open to the public presentation on the subject that is taking place at Knox United Church on April 30th, starting at 7 p.m. and ending at 8 p.m. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin.
And a section of Thomas Street located on Lanphier Hill in Terrace is currently only allowing one-way traffic northbound as some reconstruction is now taking place. And the section dealing with the one-way covers the road stretching from Cooper Drive to Tweedle Avenue, and to help compensate for this limitation, a detour has been opened up along Tweedle Avenue, Terrace Street, and Cooper Drive. Two-way traffic is still available for vehicles on the stretch of land that goes from Tweedle Avenue to Hallowell Avenue, but it does seem like it could possibly end up changing in the future at some point as well. The work being done on that section of road is being partially funded by the Resource Benefits Alliance, and it's currently not clear as to when it might get finished. An announcement that was made by Jonathan Wilkinson, who is the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, revealed that the future Cedar LNG facility that is set to be built in Kitimat is going to be receiving quite the financial boost. The federal government, through the Strategic Innovation Fund, will be putting forth a total of $200 million towards the project that is expected to cost almost $6 billion in total. Cedar LNG, unsurprisingly, has been very receptive to this support and believe that these gifted funds from the government are key to helping build what has been touted to eventually become one of the lowest emitting LNG facilities in the entire world. The facility is expected to be up and entirely operational by sometime towards the end of 2028. After the break, Kitimat sees a liquefied natural gas cargo in the marine terminal. Hello again. Well, it was announced by the District of Kitimat that on March 31st, their annual water main flushing program is set to start up once again. The district also mentioned that as their water crews gradually complete the work that they've been assigned, residents might notice some discoloration in their water, but the discoloration is said to be only temporary and doesn't affect the water's quality. Residents are advised to run their water for a bit in order to clear up the discoloration. And looking at Kitimat once again, a vessel is now on its way to deliver a liquefied natural gas cargo to the marine terminal. But as of right now, the cargo won't be for export. Here's Jayleen Matthews of CFTK-TV with more.
The vessel Marin Gas Roxana is en route to the LNG Canada facility in Kitimat to deliver a cargo of liquefied natural gas for equipment testing. The delivery is expected to arrive in early April, and a spokesperson for LNG said the delivery is critical for the safe startup and commissioning process now underway, and to achieving first cargo by 2025. Introducing LNG to the facility is required to cool the LNG tank and operate equipment at cryogenic or low temperature conditions in early testing. According to LNG Canada, on its arrival at the Triple Island Pilot Station, a team of BC Coast pilots will board the LNG carrier and guide the carrier to the LNG Canada Marine Terminal in Kitimat, a distance of 159 nautical miles. One high-sea marine escort tug will be at the pilot station to provide escort service to the LNG carrier. Upon arrival in Kitimat, high-sea marine harbor tugs will assist the carrier in berthing at the LNG Canada Marine Terminal jetty. LNG Canada anticipates the discharge will take 3 to 4 weeks to complete. On completion, the LNG carrier will leave in the same way it came, and the BC Coast pilots will disembark at the Triple Island Pilot Station, and the carrier will depart Canadian waters. This is the only anticipated shipment of LNG to the facility. For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
And in local sports, a pair of youth ringette teams representing the Terrace Ringette Association were quite successful at the club provincial that took place last weekend. The U19 squad finished with a third-place finish and a bronze medal in their games, but the U16 team managed to go all the way and bring home the gold. The U14 Terrace representative nearly made the podium as well, but unfortunately for them, they lost a tight bronze medal game in sudden death overtime. One of the more recent editions of the District of Kitimat's council meeting saw the council approve a pair of grant applications that the district will be making. The applications are going to be done on behalf of the Kitimat Flying Club after representatives of the club made a presentation to the council. One application will be seeking $35,000 and the other will aim to get $200,000 in order to cover the costs of a Kitimat Air Park master plan, as well as to purchase equipment. A different part of the meeting also saw council adopt the 3 Blueberry Avenue official community plan amendment and the zoning amendment bylaw. These adoptions mean that the property on 3 Blueberry Avenue can have 4 dwelling units on site. And dust advisories were a common occurrence this week, which have been lifted, where advisories were put on areas like Burns Lake and then Smithers shortly after. High concentrations of coarse particulate matter was also the listed reason for both the advisories being activated once again. Still to come, BC citizens weigh in their thoughts on the upcoming federal elections. Hello again and welcome to CFTK-TV. Now over to Prince Rupert, where we have a few updates from their city council. There were 3 total presentations, and one of them saw the city's staff provide a brief update on what was going on with some developing design work in Mariners Park. There was also a presentation from Community Futures, who were alongside several local business owners in order to request that council can help them address the shortage in the local workforce. The shortage mainly stems from the recent changes in immigration policy, and several of those businesses relied on both student and foreign workers, with that number reportedly being around 30 to 50%. And right as March is about to come to an end, the City of Prince Rupert's Recreation and Community Services Department will be holding a family-friendly event to give a proper send-off to their ice rink for the season. The Jim Saccone Civic Center will be playing host to a Paint the Ice event that will be happening on Sunday, March 30th, and it's starting at 2 p.m. and lasting until 4 p.m. Citizens have been encouraged to come out and paint whatever they desire on the local indoor ice surface at the center before it melts away for the spring and summer seasons. And another recent announcement from the City of Terrace revealed that a pair of awards were headed the way of a notable city employee as well as a local institution. Terrace's Human Resources Manager, Terry Williamson, alongside the Terrace Library, were on the receiving end of the awards at the first ever edition of the Lifetime Community Inclusion Award Gala that took place last week. The gala was hosted by both the Greater Terrace Welcoming Network and Skeena Diversity Society, and the honors that were given out to Williamson and the Terrace Library were meant to recognize them for helping make Terrace a more inclusive place to both live and work in. More information on the winners as well as the work that they had done is available on the City of Terrace's website. And in the very early part of April, the town of Smithers is going to be holding a meeting in the evening that concerns some local land spaces. The meeting has officially been titled as the annual field user meeting, and it will be held on April 3rd from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. and it will be held at Town Hall in the West Fraser Room. And the town is mainly inviting anyone who represents either a recreation or user group that makes frequent use of the fields in Smithers. It was also asked that only 1 or 2 representatives from a group attend, and that any new groups who want to join for the first time are welcome. No group is required to register for the meeting in any way as well. And through the Active Transportation Infrastructure Grant Program, the town of Smithers was recently able to get a total of $417,000 in funding from the BC Ministry of Transportation and Transit. Those funds are set to be used on the construction of a brand new multi-use pathway that will connect to the already existing pathway on Fulton Avenue. The new pathway will be located along Main Street and stretch from Highway 16 all the way to 10th Avenue. The main intention of the new pathway is to help people whenever they are traveling along the Bulkley River Bridge to the downtown area of Smithers. And around the province, polls have showed that different demographics in British Columbia have different priorities when it comes to who they will be voting for this upcoming election. Here is Penny Daflos down in Vancouver with more.
Federal party leaders are now holding multiple photo ops per day, seeking to connect with voters at a time most opinion polls are telling a similar story.
We have statistical ties between the Conservatives and the Liberals in Ontario and Atlantic Canada and in British Columbia, which is nothing short of historic.
Younger voters are more focused on housing, but older voters and most overall are most concerned about Donald Trump. The Liberal leader is really leaning into that.
President Trump wants to break us, so America can own us.
With favorability numbers consistently high, Mark Carney is going with a stick together message.
Negativity won't win a trade war. Negativity won't pay the rent or the mortgage. Negativity won't bring down the price of groceries. Negativity won't make Canada strong.
We also need to send the message to our youth that the best jobs in the world are trades jobs. We need boots, not suits.
Now the Conservative leader is also trying to go a little more positive. Pierre Poilievre is also trying to be seen as a family man while circling back to his core messaging.
Do we want a fourth Liberal term after the lost Liberal decade, or do we want a new Conservative government that will put Canada first for a change?
The neck-and-neck race between Liberals and Conservatives has come at the expense of the NDP, now fighting for survival on two fronts.
Mark Carney is a guy that's going to raise your cost of housing. That's what he's going to do to make more profits, probably for himself, but certainly for the companies that he worked for. Pierre Poilievre is going to sell off public land. That's his plan. Sell off public land to the highest bidder.
It leaves little room for the Greens.
All Canadians need to vote.
Whose leader may be onto something, with threats of tariffs and annexation from the White House overshadowing many domestic issues.
So this would suggest that people who are usually cynical about politics and hate all politicians and believe they're all corrupt are going to pay attention to the election and actually cast a ballot. So we could have a voter turnout that is similar to what we had in the 1980s, which was 75%.
Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
And the City of Terrace announced that parts of the Howe Creek Trail as well as the Skeena Viewpoint Trail were under some maintenance work taking place. However, each of the mentioned trails are going to be reopening in the evenings so people can still use them, but it'll likely have to be when conditions are a little chillier and without much natural light. This announcement came not long after the city said that they would be working with several partners on making improvements to the Wolfpack Trail on Terrace Mountain, but it's not currently clear if Terrace is planning on making any more alterations to their other local trails. And that'll be all for this week's edition of Week in Review. Make sure to tune in into CFTK-TV on Monday at 5, 6, 6:30, and 11 o'clock, where we'll have our regular newscast. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.